We look down into the valley of Hula, where the tribe of Dan lived. The modern counterpart of the ancient capital of the tribe of Dan is a collective settlement. On their land, in a grove of mulberry trees, is the spring that is the main source of the River Jordan. The clear, cool water rushes down toward Hula Lake, creating marshes that are being cleared and converted to irrigation purposes. Other springs of crystal clear water flow into tributaries of the Jordan, and along their banks wild oleanders color the landscape with their pastel blossoms. In 1934, Jewish colonists acquired the first 15,000 acres of malaria-infested swamps and began draining and clearing the land. Today, most of the valley is a rich agricultural area producing many food products. To the south lies Lake Kinneret, the famous Sea of Galilee. Kinneret has a delightful mild winter climate that attracts thousands of visitors during that season. It lies approximately 680 feet below the level of the sea. This splendid hotel on the shores of the lake at Tiberias is the stopping place for Air France travelers. We spent many restful hours during our stay on this terrace overlooking the historic lake. After thousands of years of fishing, freshwater brim and Galilee sardines are still plentiful, and Tiberias fishermen earn comfortable livelihoods netting them. At the northern end of the lake, at Capernaum, are the well-preserved ruins of an ancient synagogue built during the 2nd century. Then, Capharnaum was a town of considerable size and importance. The Jewish emblem, the Shield of David, can be discerned in the motive of the synagogue decoration. From the south end of Lake Kinneret, the River Jordan flows down to the Dead Sea, the lowest point on earth. Where the river leaves the lake, we stop to watch a group of newly arrived immigrant children from Iraq taking their first swim in their new homeland. These children were part of the tens of thousands of Jews Two of the young immigrants were more interested in the Syrian tank that was destroyed single-handed by a beekeeper of Degania. Nearby stands a memorial commemorating the defeat of the Syrian Yarmouk army. Scars of the battle are still visible on the former police barracks. As we look over the Jordan Valley stretching to the south of Lake Kinneret, we see three of the most highly developed kibbutzim of Israel: Kinneret, Afikim, and Ashdod Yaakov. The latter has a population of over 1,200 people. Its economy is based mainly on intensive irrigated agriculture. Bananas grow well here, for the valley is 700 feet below sea level, its depth providing warmth and shelter at all times of the year. Luscious grapes ripen in early summer. Roses with stems 6 feet long are shipped by Air France planes during holiday season periods to Europe and the United States. Afikim has the largest plywood factory in Israel and is turning the giant logs imported from the tropics into many needed building products. A few miles down the valley is the hydroelectric station of Naharayim. It was occupied by the Arab Legion in the beginning of the war. No resistance was offered, for it was supposed it would continue in operation, but the workers were taken prisoners and the station has ceased to operate. On the road between Tiberias and Nazareth, we stopped at the town of Capacana, said to be the location of the New Testament town of Cana of Galilee. 3 churches commemorate the wedding that was held at Cana in Galilee. Rising nearby on the slopes of the hills through which we pass to go to Jerusalem is Nazareth, one of Israel's all-Arab communities. Before us is St. Joseph's Church, built on the site of Joseph's carpenter shop, the Roman Catholic Church of the Annunciation. For 2,000 years, Mary's well has supplied drinking water for Nazareth. Continuing on our way to Jerusalem, we crossed the valley of Jezreel, biblical Esraeldon. Here were begun the earliest Jewish settlements of modern Israel, and the region that was once a swamp is now the richest sheep and cattle-raising country. As we motored up to Jerusalem, we saw the remains of trucks and armored cars of Jewish convoys that had fought their way to relieve the beleaguered city. These would be left as memorials to the courageous. We look now upon the walls of Old Jerusalem on Mount Zion. Zion symbolizes the heart of Judaism, for it was here that King David decided to build a city and temple to God. Pilgrims from all over the world come to this mountain to do homage to the memory of King David. From the Domitian Tower atop the mountain, we look upon the site of the walls bounding the area of King Solomon's temple. Before us are the ruins of the ancient Jewish quarter of the old city, and the heaps of rubble which were the synagogues demolished by the occupying Arab forces. The crenellated walls represent the approximate division of Jerusalem between the forces of Abdullah and Israel at the conclusion of the armistice. Until this war, a Jewish community had always existed within the walls, comprised of descendants of families who had managed to survive the centuries of Palestine's stormy history. Jerusalem truly merits being called the Holy City, for great shrines of 3 religions are all within a few hundred yards of each other. This dome covers the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Pilgrims look over the city from the roof above King David's tomb. The Dome of the Rock, the mosque built upon the traditional site of Solomon's temple, the Mount of Olives, and the Garden of Gethsemane. 5 miles away, we see among the hills the little town of Bethlehem. Jerusalem outside the walls sprang from the Jewish nostalgia for the eternal city. Jewish connections with the city, in both secular and religious fields, has persevered throughout the centuries. Time after time, the Jews return to rebuild the city of the temple. The last return has seen the foundations laid for a city greater than ever before. Today, there are more than 115,000 Jews living in this new city that has grown beyond the walls. Jerusalem is a fast-moving modern city. Its population pursues all types of industries. It is the seat of the capital of Israel, as well as the headquarters of the Zionist organization.